Welcome to another edition of the Building the Future podcast, where we're trying to help young people succeed by exploring real careers, real stories, and real lessons from leaders shaping our communities.
Yeah, joining us today is Colby Elmitt from Langel and Wood Clothiers. Your story starts with a tie and a passion for customer service. We can't wait to hear from you and how you've started and grown your business and a career as a premium clothier. Thanks for joining us, Colby. Let's dive straight into the first question here. Tailoring is one of the oldest skilled trades. What makes it a true trade in the same way we think of electricians, welders, HVAC, etc.?
Well, you got to build trust, and you got to put the time in to learn your trade, and just doing it with a level of expertise and precision. It takes learning. It takes hours of failing. It takes hours of practice, and until you feel like you can master your craft.
Yeah. So, I guess getting into being a tailor, what does that experience look like? Or I guess is it an apprenticeship type ordeal, or kind of what's the getting into it look like?
Yeah, so my story is a little different. I first was a client in 2010, and just you go in there for the first time. I graduated with a marketing degree, and I was working as a marketing specialist. And my first job as a 21-year-old, I was wearing a tie every day. And the youngest guy in there, you wanted to kind of command respect or show that you were serious about what you were doing. And so I would wear a tie every day, and so much so that it caught the attention of my marketing director. And he said, "Hey, you should buy a tie at Langel and Woods." And I had a good rapport with him. I have a little sarcastic side to me. And I said, "Hey, you should pay me more." Because at the time, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford a tie at Langel and Woods. But at the time, Pat Langel and Tony Woods, the founders of it, had a deal where at Christmas time, you could bring in any one of your ties and buy one. They would donate that tie that you had brought in, and you could buy one of theirs for 50% off. And so they called it a tie one on at holiday time. And so that's what I did. And I brought in a couple ties and just fell in love with the uniqueness of everything, from the custom ties to the fact that it was unlike any kind of men's retail store where there was no product in the shop. It was just all custom. And the fact that you could go into a place and pick out any fabric, any lining, you just fell in love with it. So as my career grew with marketing and sales and technology, it was kind of when you had the opportunity to buy your first custom suit, and then just kind of fell in love with that product and more and more and more. And it was something different about that product where you just became passionate about it. And you became to a point where you wanted to learn more and learn more and learn more. And so anytime I would go in to get my next custom piece, it was those conversations with Tony and Pat and the way they made me feel and the way I would get excited about picking something out that led to just continued passion. And when I found out that Pat and Tony were looking for kind of an exit strategy where their time, it just became the right fit. So to answer your question, long-winded answer, It was a little mix between day one ownership and apprenticeship and kind of learning on the job. Pat and Tony, there's no way I would be able to do what I did if it wasn't for Pat and Tony with the mentoring that they told me to. Those two are the best in Iowa and the Midwest, if not in the country. And I don't mean that lightly. They take pride in what they do, and the things they were able to teach me, first hands-on experience. Every client that came in the door those first few months, the first year, I was learning. I was watching everything, the way how they treated people, but also things they saw in shoulder pitches and body structures that paid attention. And it's like, I'm going to learn from them. They're going to teach me, and then they're going to show me.
Yeah. So I guess last week we interviewed a guy that had sold his business, and he went PE route, sold it out. Great. What does it look like as a young guy coming in, buying out a legacy business, a legacy brand? I mean, obviously we don't expect you to give all the details, but just I'm sure there's a lot of people that, and I've said it, there's so many guys out there that are looking to get out and are looking for that young head to come in, and they'll do the training, they'll do the work, and a lot of them don't want a lot for the business. They just want to see the legacy continue, and they'll want something for it usually. But what did that kind of look like for you? And is there anything that you would recommend for somebody else looking to find an older guy or girl that they can replace in their trade?
Yeah, so I think it's got to be the right fit. I mean, there is and I've listened to the other podcast before, it's got to be right fit for both sides. For them, for Pat and Tony, they had to feel confident in me carrying on that legacy of the Langel and Woods brand. For me, it had to be like, okay, I got to trust these people that they're handing over their baby and saying, hey, we trust you with this. Not only do we trust you, but we're going to be with you as this transition happens to make sure you're confident for the day that Pat and Tony are no longer involved with the business. It's you got to have that right fit, and it's got to be a gut feeling, but it's got to be something that you like. Trust me. I mean, my wife and I, we have 3 kids, and it was in that tough stage because I loved what I was doing. I was doing it for 10 plus years, and wouldn't have done it with a different company, but everything was safe. Everything was stable, and it was something where it was comfortable for us. But to make that next step over, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of like just tough conversations and tough wrestling. It's like, can you make this move and like grow a career in it? You got to trust yourself. You got to bet on yourself. But then you also have to have that support and that trust of who you're buying it from, that transition, that they aren't selling you a lemon. They're selling you a gold mine of like.
You had built a rapport with this company. You had gone in.
Correct.
You'd seen who they were as a business for quite a while by the sounds of it.
For over 15 years, since 2010.
Right. This isn't you going, you know what? Clothier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop in and see if this place is for sale and what they want.
Sure,
for it.
yeah.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, this has been 15 years, 14 years in the making, and yeah.
So then, how long, are you guys planning on having them stay involved in working their way out? I'm sure, but when I first met you, it seemed like they were pretty involved, but even by the second time I'd come in, you were kind of running the show, So just what does that look like, and how long have you been in that transition, and how long do you anticipate being in that transition?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, life is short, and Pat and Tony have both invested their time into years and put blood, sweat, and tears into this company. I want them to work as long as they want, but also I want them to feel comfortable saying, hey, if today is my last day, like I want to enjoy my life outside of this place, they're ready to go. We're always going to learn from the people that we bought a business from. We can always learn. I'm a firm believer in always learning. There's going to be things where I call them up on, and they've always. What I love about Pat and Tony is they have always left that channel open. So Tony will probably be through the end of the year. Probably same with Pat. Just kind of there. I want them to enjoy what they're doing. I want them to enjoy retirement.
Did you work there as an employee for a time before the actual transition of buying it out and making that decision to kind of see if this is something did you just jump in and go, you know what, I'm going to love doing this and let's start making suits? Or did you hey, let me work here. Let me kind of see what this looks like. I mean, what if you got into it and you hated it, or, something like that?
If I got into it and I hated it, I'd be in big trouble with it. I took ownership from day one, and it was one of those things where I'll tell a quick side story. Is this had been going on probably mid 2023, and where kind of the first idea came open, and I was really excited about it, and it was one of those things where it's like, this is good, this is good, this is good. But on the tough side too, leaving what I had known was safe, known what I loved. I mean, the family that I had, the company was called QCI. They do IT consulting. They were my family. Loved going to work with them and doing what I was doing for them. And that was really tough to kind of get to that point where it's like, okay, I'm actually going to do this. And in my mind, I was doing it. Rachel and I, we had planned for everything. My parents, my mother-in-law, we were all on board. Like, we're going to do this, and we're going to be excited. And then at that 1 yard line, when I kind of had to tell my boss what I was doing, which was so tough, is like, okay, so what if you did this instead? And I'm like, okay, well, like, that could be really cool. And so I had to tell Pat and Tony that I was going to stay, okay? And so all this time, all these 6 months leading up to it, it's like, I'm so excited. I'm all in. We're at the 1 yard line, and we're going to punt. okay, which is insane because I had done all this prep, but it's like, okay, I'm going to stay with what I'm doing and can continue my career growth here. And then you get into that new position, and it's one of those things where it's like you forgot why you were so excited 6 months ago, and that passion wasn't there. It wasn't waking up every morning, loving what you're doing, going home, loving what you did. Great company, again, would not change a thing, but the passion goes back to why you were doing it in the first place.
So they offered you more, they offered you a better deal, and you said, hey, I'm going to give that a shot, and then realized that the dream just wasn't there anymore?
Yeah. And so I am so thankful for Pat and Tony for kind of leaving that door open.
Yeah.
And no love was lost when I originally called him because it sucked. Calling Pat, because Pat was in Florida at the time, called Pat and said, hey, Pat, I have some really bad news for you. And Pat became family back in 2010, but letting that guy know that all that work that he had done, that I was just going to kind of take a step back and stay. But he loved me nonetheless. And just the fact that he gave me another opportunity and trusted me enough to say, okay, yeah, Bozo, you're coming back again with this. And he trusted me, and that means a lot. And so going back into this all in, I'm grateful.
Yeah, I guess so. When you kind of first turned it down that first time, and you stayed working, was it like something in the back of your head always like kind of just reminded you?
It was.
Like, yeah,
It was.
What if you did this, or what if you went to this? And
yeah, it was. And that's the thing that's tough too, is because when you get into an environment or working for a company that you love, that treats their people right, and like you're doing things the right way, like it's like you want to stay there. And I'm a big fan of showing loyalty to the companies that I do work for, because there haven't been a lot, but like it was tough. But you're right, in the back of your mind. And then here's the funny part is, so gearing up for this like January 1st start is like there was a dress shirt I got that I wanted to customize. So prepping for this start, like I customized a shirt and said 1/1/24. You can monogram your shirts. And so I monogrammed it for the first day. Well, that first day didn't end up so sharing a text with some buddies is like, hey, look at the shirt I got, or wearing even those suits that I bought. It's like you're wearing these. It's like, but you're wearing the suit, but you aren't doing what you wanted to do while wearing the suit, and kind of having that.
So you said you were a customer clear back in 2014. How old were you, and what did you buy? Like, what did you buy that started this journey?
Yeah, it started with that tie, and then I bought my first custom suit. I remember it was a navy suit with a pink window pane for my buddy Christian's wedding. And I was at that point where I had the income to buy a custom suit versus something off the rack or something from like Joseph A. Banks or whatever. But buying that custom suit, that was where it started. And then it got into, okay, so now I'm wearing these pants that fit me great. I'm wearing this jacket that fits me right. I can't go back to wearing this other stuff that doesn't fit me right. And you just feel it right away.
What is it? What do you guys do down there? I mean, sorry, I've never been into both years. I don't know the first thing to expect. I don't know what it's like in the store. I don't know what you guys do behind in the back rooms. What is it you guys do?
Yeah, we create custom clothing for men and women. So custom suits, sport coats, jackets, skirts, shirts, pants, whatever. It's that custom clothing aspect.
And by custom, what are we talking about?
So we're taking 40 measurements on you. So neck, chest, all these different measurements versus just hey, you're a 42 long jacket. Sure. Throw this on and it's going to fit great. Yeah. So we're crafting everything. We're picking the fabric, the lining, the stitching, the button, how you want it to fit, the different styles. Like, what do you want?
Well, and I mean, you walk in and it's like, well, first thing I walked in, there is no clothes. It looks like the atrium out front here for the studio.
Okay.
And then they've got a good bar in the back. And
refreshment area for code.
Refreshment area. So then, I don't know. I mean, what does it take? We were in there for hours.
Yeah.
To get that first suit design.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I mean, like it's a conversation, and it's just an exchange between people. First of all, we want to learn about you. What are you using this for? When you came in, you were looking for a suit to command the room when you were giving a presentation.
Right.
And just something that you feel confident in, and you're walking up stage knowing, hey, this guy is not just some young kid. This guy like demands respect, and you're going to notice that from when you walk in. We don't have any inventory. So the nice thing about that is we aren't worried about getting rid of product, like doing crazy sales. We're interested in quality clothing that is created from scratch that's going to fit you better than anything else you've ever worn.
Okay, created from scratch. So we go in, here's what we're looking for, the measurements. I'm assuming there's some swatches or something.
There's
thousands.
There's swatches.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
You want blue, you want black. We got two options here.
Well, no, because there's different shades of blue, there's different shades of black, there's different shades of gray. Insert your joke there. But you pick thousands of options.
No,
and,
it's nuts.
And we narrow it down. You know, we want to be the pricing's important, okay? So you have different levels of fabrics. We source fabrics from all over the world. So we have kind of an entry level.
But you show me 1,000 fabrics, and it's like, listen, whatever you think, and I'll just
Well, and that's all kind of for show. Like that's what we do. We just throw a bunch of stuff at you, and then finally you'll be like, oh, we trust you. I'm kidding. I want you to feel
I'm assuming you're going to walk me through the
100%. Yeah, because it's an experience for everyone. I mean,
Do you put your fabrics across on price point? So your top shelf.
Yeah.
I don't remember that well, but you guys were like, okay, this is basically they build you a profile. What are you going to do with this thing? Are you going to try and go swimming in this thing, or are you going to wear this once or twice and get buried in it and call it good?
I can see somebody getting in. I don't know if over your head is the term, but so like a home builder.
Yeah.
When it's time to look at kitchens,
Yeah.
we got three options for you. You want white, you want cherry, or you want oak. There are 1,000 options for kitchen
Sure.
cabinets, right?
Sure.
But if I show you that book, what all these came out of, we're going to be here for months.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you looking for? Well, I'm thinking of this. Okay. Now that we got that laid down, are you thinking a pattern? You're thinking so
Yeah.
now we can just get rid of 3/4 of the book and get this thing narrowed down.
Yeah, you really learn who people are in the process, and you don't want to push people out of their comfort zone, but it's like someone could see something and be like, oh, okay, I kind of like that. I like that more than when you came in, the blue that you were looking for. I don't know if you thought going out of it, that's the blue I'm gonna pick, but it was a different.
Yeah, I knew I wanted a blue suit, and I had a couple different options, and then they went, well, we could just give you all three. You stitched them all in. There's 3 separate colors of blue in the jacket, but it's so minute that if you wore different colored things with it, they would still match, but you don't. It was totally
Yeah.
screwy. I mean, even a lot of stuff in all the books and all the things he showed. I'm pretty good at making decisions and moving on, but it still took me hours.
So after we get a fabric and a pattern and all that nailed down,
Yep.
what happens in the back?
Well, on the back is we're taking measurements on you. Okay, so and then we're looking at you and seeing things on you that might be differently or that we might want to note. That's just going to be different than that off the rack to give you that best fitting suit or garment that you've had. And so we're putting that together, and then we piece it off and it goes. We go out, we make that. I personally don't sew in the back, but we get that done. And then about 4.5, 5 weeks after that, we give you a call and say, hey, your suit's ready or your shirt's ready.
So do you have somebody that goes and stitches these for you then with all the measurements?
Yes, we do, but they aren't in-house. No.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then kind of did we do anything?
I think we came back in, and I don't think we made any changes. I think we thought about altering the length a little bit, but then when I switched to the boots I was planning on wearing, it was fine.
Because that was the thing is when you're wearing boots or versus a shirt, that boot is going to be a little wider around the ankle and around the calf. So we want to make sure that pant's not getting caught right where that boot goes. I mean, we have all sorts of people, whether it's
They wanted me to bring in everything that I might every day carry in. So like whether it's a firearm, whether it's your wallet, what boots you're going to wear, all that stuff. When you're wearing this suit, what might you have? And then they built around that. So like they extended a little more fabric in the back of mine for where I carry. So, all those little things. And then one of the things, that really surprised me when I went through that was every suit I've ever worn, either if I want the sleeves to be the right length, I have to get the narrower shouldered one, and then my shoulders sticking out into the sleeves, or the back is wider than the front and it looks like it's hanging on the front. And they kept telling me to just relax, and I am relaxed. They're like, no, just relax, because most people sit more forward, and my dad's a chiropractor, so that just wasn't really an option.
Yeah.
And so, I walk, and then I end up with this suit, and I end up, the one I got married in, I think I've got one I had at like prom or something. Yeah, those are in the garbage. I tried to put them on for like Christmas or something, and I was like, I can't do this. So it really is a almost bad habit to start, because
I was gonna say every time we go to like a trade show or something, and he notices them immediately, and he's been telling me, he's like, oh dude, you got to get out of that TJ Maxx suit, you gotta get into something nice, like the way it fits, and it's just like how you notice it. I kind of got a little into like watches, and it's like, oh, you get your first watch, like you just keep buying watches, and then now you're like noticing other people's watches and looking at it. And
I noticed a guy in Houston at one of our conferences that was wearing a custom suit, and I just happened to start talking to him. We started talking about the suit, and it turns out he actually had his made by them back here. And I mean, there's not that many clothiers left. I mean, do you have any? I thought I looked it up at one time, and there's only a couple hundred or something like that. Yeah, is that accurate?
Yeah, it is accurate. I mean, it's kind of one of those things, and speaks to kind of where we are as a population, but people want that, not necessarily fast fashion, but they want to go into a shop and walk out with something, and that's kind of an off the rack thing, and that there are people that love that, great for them, but there are also people that appreciate pieces that fit them and like fit them properly, and in order to get that piece, that takes some time, and it takes someone just analyzing you, someone trained to measure appropriately and clothe.
So do you have any idea on how many are out there?
I don't. There's a convention right now, or a show, if you will, out in New York of custom tailors that are meeting. I chose to prioritize this over that. Thanks for laughing. But no, there's probably, I'd say probably a couple hundred. I mean, there's people that really appreciate the process and that realize that process is still alive. And that process has meaning and has worth. So yeah.
Let's see here. I'm pulling it up.
Well, and the tailor and the clothier profession. I mean, there's been people getting dressed since the beginning of time, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So there's somebody out there, right after we threw away the leaves and decided to, throw a couple stitches and some bearskin. There's been somebody been figuring out how to do that, because not everybody can do it.
Yeah.
So it's one of the, not the oldest trade in the world, but maybe second.
Well, I guess too, as time goes on, like you go to back in the 1800s, early 1900s, like everyone almost wore like a suit to work or something like that. I feel like a lot more people might have wore suits now, and now
you
business
wore a suit
casual.
On the airplane. That was the deal. You got dressed up.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Way better than wearing your pajamas. That pisses me off.
There's so before COVID, I mean, Langel and Wood was on fire. They were doing the best they had done. COVID changed things. People became more comfortable. That business casual, that like athleisure type, like I'm gonna buy stock in Lululemon because I'm just gonna buy a bunch of joggers and be fine with that. But like to your point, people are coming back to wearing suits. People are coming up to taking importance and pride into what they're wearing and how they're presenting themselves.
I mean, when we leave, and us being 22, 23 years old, and being, usually we are the younger guys, usually by about 20 years from like in these conferences and meetings and stuff. And so that's one thing that like Elijah used to never be. He used to be the full of grease, head to toe, like
Yeah.
just working outside and everything. And if you would have told him years ago, hey, you're gonna have a custom suit.
I would have said caught dead in that. Yeah,
But-
I'm buried maybe.
But I'd say like that is one thing. It's when we go to these, like we try and dress almost up too much to
Yeah.
where it does gain that attention, and it's like, oh man, like we're not walking in just with sweatpants or something. And we've even been told like, hey, why are you guys wearing your
Because we're
suit
bringing it back,
jackets?
baby.
And it's like, yeah, because
Bringing it back.
we're trying to look good, like we're trying to, and it demands attention, and
The older guys notice
Yeah.
because they remember when that's what they wore every day, and most of them appreciate it. And a lot of the circles that we end up in for business, most of them run a custom suit of some kind, and so they notice the quality. I mean, you told me, and I thought this guy's full of it. When you told me, you just start noticing it
Yeah.
as soon as you have one. When you see other people in custom fit clothes, I was like, dude, I'm getting one suit. That's it. I'm out of here. And then, no, you do. It's like, oh, hey, okay, that guy's wearing a suit. You can't buy that off the rack.
Yeah.
But I mean, even that.
What is it that you're noticing? So this is going to be one of our best dressed guests. I'll tell you that.
oh yeah, for sure.
So what is it about what you're wearing right now that puts this thing at a different level than?
Yep. So if I'm looking at myself or someone else, I'm gonna look at the fit and like, does it fit them in the shoulders? And obviously, it's a little tricky because I'm sitting. Side note for the podcast: when you are sitting down, you should unbutton your jacket. Okay. So that's like my PSA. But you're gonna see how it fits in the shoulders, or how, like, is it rumpled up here? Is there a lot of extra collar gaps? So where it's hanging here and doesn't fit, is the back straight? Obviously, I'm not standing up, but you want to see how the drape fits on you and how it feels on you. Obviously, there's other aspects on the inside, but you like
Flash that.
so
thing.
yeah. So we got some custom lining here. Look at get the brand in there, but there's different small pieces that you can really make it pop. We've done custom linings. Obviously, people aren't walking around flashing each other with their linings, but like it's a cool piece. Some people, whether it's like a special picture or engagement pictures, whatever, there's custom pieces. But when I'm looking at someone,
Well, have that in the lining?
oh, we've done some really cool stuff. Yeah, for like weddings, whether people do engagement pictures, pictures of pets. We had one groom, his bride or his fiance had written him letters over their years of dating. Okay, and we took 38 letters that she wrote him, and we digitized them, and we made that the lining. So when they get married, inside his lining, and again, you aren't going to be able to see it, but you're going to feel it.
Well, but you add a bunch of little stuff. So like mine, you put the little kerchief or whatever in the pocket that can be pushed down and as the inside lining of the pocket. Or
So you
can
don't have to have
so you
a
don't have
kerchief.
to have it a kerchief.
No,
but you
no.
can pull it out, and it's the same as the inner lining, and so it matches. You did the ends of the sleeves differently, so if you want to change the style up, the pockets I can have them in or out, and depending on if you want to have show any pattern, anything like that. They knew I was going to use this at multiple different events and multiple different things. Sometimes I wear it with jeans, and sometimes I wear it with pants. You know, and so those are all the little things. So you'll like walk by and you'll see a guy that's okay. Well, he's got his pockets tucked, but the rest of it's out. Just different stuff. Like most of them that you wear or that you see out just off the rack would just have no pocket. Or, you know, one time I saw a guy that had one pocket in and one out. I was like, okay, well, I know.
My favorite is the temp sewing on the back or for the flaps, and how many dudes actually have that temp.
Oh, and
Stitching.
didn't know that needed to come
They didn't
out.
know they need to cut.
There's another PSA for if you are buying off the rack.
That's another.
Unfortunately, I was one of those guys, and yeah. But guess what? From here on out, I'm cutting that stitching. But yeah, I was at an interview. I was at career fair actually, and I was walking away, and a guy grabbed me, and he's like, "Hey, just want to give you a little tip here. You're supposed to cut those stitchings." I never saw him before.
Well.
And what?
And all of a sudden, it fit just a little bit better.
It's a little bit.
So they say, or this is, chat, but to be taken with a grain of salt, it said people that advertise themselves as high-end custom clothing is roughly 500 to 1,000 nationwide, but true bespoke clothiers like you guys, there's 100 to 200.
Yeah.
So that's a very, it's a very niche thing that you guys do. I'm kind of shocked we have in Des Moines. We run into a lot of stuff like people be like, oh, have you heard of this or have you done this? No. Why?
Well,
'Cause
but
I-
what we're talking about and is true craftsmanship, right?
Yeah.
Versus speed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that speaks to all trades. You know, if you're passionate about what you're doing and you care, it's not about just how fast can I get in and out of this thing. How fast can I get this project done? I care. I'm going to take my time.
Yeah, and to that point, it's interesting because there's a few places that have used adaptive technology. Technology is great, but there's a technology or machine now where you stand in front of a camera, you stand in front of a TV, and it's like they'll do measurements or some body scan or whatever. It's funny because we took that to Chicago, and we did the whole process just to see it out, test it out, and then we took that against our measurements, our hand measurements, and there were differences. And significant differences to the point where it matters. You think about like 1/4 inch measurements or 1/2 inch off, that matters. You think so small, you look at a ruler or a measuring tape, it's like, oh, no big deal. It's like that matters, how it fits and how it feels on you.
Yeah.
So that is a way that technology is trying to encroach on that craft.
Certainly. Yeah, and it's interesting because when you come in, we talk about those thousands of fabric swatches. A big kind of not complaint or concern that people have is like, okay, I see this on a square, but what is it going to look like on me? Fair question. And so like with ChatGPT or AI stuff, people are getting used to like uploading it and hey, here's a sample. And it's not the true same, but it's like where that expertise and craftsmanship comes from, that training is like you have to have an eye for someone's coming in and they're trusting you with their wardrobe and what would look good on them. Not every color is going to look good on a person. Not every pattern is going to look good on a person. So you have to have that trust, that expertise, that knowledge of like putting the time into looking and learning from others or reading or digesting stuff to say, this blue is going to be great on you. Like this pattern is going to complement you in a way better than this different shade or this pattern.
Have you had that though? Some guy comes in and he wants a checkerboard, red and black on him, and you're like, dude, you're gonna look like, a tablecloth. You can't wear that, or any of that, or do you kind of let them steer the ship, or where does that?
And great question. So we kind of have some direction. Like this goes back to earlier where we're doing some analysis on the client. We're getting to know them, who they are, what their budget is, what they're looking for the occasion. And so when they come in, we have some fabrics prepared for them to say, hey, this is what we think you would enjoy or the direction we're going. And then occasionally they'll be looking through, just kind of amazed, coming in for the first time and looking at all the different fabrics and, ooh, I really like that one. And we've had to navigate some conversations. It's a cool fabric, but maybe not for a suit or not for a whole, like you're looking like one of those Better Homes and Gardens magazine books where it's just you're that straight red and white checker. Like that's a cool, but for a full suit, maybe not. Let's take a step back.
So do you have the ability, like you were talking about, this is, just so you know, this is what that would look like on you?
We've had a few, and so we're actually working on kind of developing kind of something on the back end where we can show different mills that we're working with. We're going out to Chicago in a couple weeks to meet with them. They'll be presenting kind of different things that they're doing on their websites to make it easier for us. So different mills out of Italy and London, whatever.
When you say a mill, what is
A fabric mill. So like Loro Piana, Dorme. What's cool about Langel and Woods is we source fabrics from all over the world. So like Dorme fabric or Loro Piana fabric, some really high-end stuff that Hermes uses or some of these top Tom Ford.
We have no idea what you're talking
I know. That's a great question. So a really nice car, like a Maserati, a really nice car that would cost, I don't know, $200,000 or tractors. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So a really nice tractor, really nice car that would cost 20 times as much as it would in, like, I know Iowa's home for like farmland. Maybe it's cheaper in New York. I don't know. But a nice suit that would, some of these fabrics that we would sell that you could get for like $20,000 in New York is going to cost you $3,000 or $4,000. We have a client that lives in New York. He's went to law school at Drake. It's cheaper for him to come back every year and buy 3 suits, Like, and so you include the
Because
flight.
you're going straight to the manufacturer of the fabric.
No, you're coming to Langel and Woods. So you're getting those Iowa prices, then it would be the same for him buying one suit in New York. So one suit in New York costs like $10,000.
Well, it's
for this
supply and
type of
demand.
level.
Just,
How,
yeah, the
how many
market
people
out
in New
there.
York City have the means to afford a high-end
Gotcha.
suit?
Okay.
Significantly more than here. So they'll, there's more of them. Let's say there's one or two of these 200 are, open in business in New York. Yeah, sorry, man, it's 20 grand.
But back to your quality fabric, and you were talking about different brands and
Yeah.
styles. I don't know if they're
Lost me
brands
there.
or styles or
Yeah.
thread counter or
Yeah.
what it was. What is that? What you're going to these manufacturers? It wasn't a still mill.
Different mills, yeah.
And what is it that they're providing you that you know that I'm doing business with these guys?
Yeah, so it's the years, the centuries worth of knowledge and pride that they have in their factories. Some of these mills, like Dormé, for instance, the sheep that they take the yarn from, that the wool from, they only drink a certain type of water. They're only drinking a certain type of water to make that wool fine. And like they're piece dyeing their yarn instead of taking the yarn together, putting it in. Like each yarn, we were talking about kind of those different shades of blue that you have in there. That's a different process that they go through. And so it's just this uniqueness that you have with all of these. I mean, you start geeking out about this stuff, and you can.
Well, yeah, explain that a little bit. You explained something to me when I first came in about the threading in my jacket.
Yeah.
And you explained something along the lines of they basically use every single individual thread is dyed
Yeah.
separately, but then, like, if you take my suit and you pull it and you look really, really, really close at it, you can see there's literally individual every other, or it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 going this way, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in different shades.
But instead
One
of
piece of
dyeing the
fabric.
whole, I don't know if it's a skein
Right.
or whatever, they're actually drawing that out
Yes.
into a thread, and then it's going
And
through.
then
the
going
dye.
in, yeah,
Right.
and that's that different level of it. It's all, we sell quality at Langel and Woods, but like there's that extra level of like exclusivity and the time that was taken in. There's a reason why this suit costs more, and here's why. And you can see it when you look at a fabric.
So how have you learned about all this stuff? I mean, there's a ton of stuff in the background to. It's not just I think this look good on you. Get some measurements.
Yeah.
We'll ship it off, and we'll be right back. There's a lot within the product that you have to know about. So where are you getting all this knowledge, all this information?
I go back to Pat Langel and Tony Woods, and just kind of how this partnership started. But they teach me what I know. They also kind of point me in the direction so that after the kids go down, I'm on a computer. I'm learning. I'm listening, and you have to do that work on your own. There's people that sell clothing all over. You will find people that sell clothing, but to be good at what you do and to be on that next level of like. You're coming into Langel and Woods for an experience. You aren't coming into Langel and Woods to be sold a suit. And so to have that product knowledge that we have, to have that expertise, to have that consultation, you got to put in the time in the back end.
Is this something you can even go to school for? Is this something that it is a passed down, a learned, call it a tradition, call it a skill?
Trade, what? Yeah, is there schooling for it or not?
There probably is. I mean, I'm certainly a non-traditional, like I'm an outlier. Like that you go from marketing to sales to this.
Because this isn't fashion per se. This isn't.
It could be. I mean, Iowa State has a great school. They have like apparel merchandising. I know that they have that, but like to learn this craft isn't like you aren't getting a degree.
Well, but there's, I think we're not even scratching the surface, all the options that you guys offer. So like, go into a couple of different kinds of fabrics, just fabrics that you sell. Because when we looked at mine, you showed me 1,000 in a book, right? And then we got it down to a few, and then we're picking. And one of the big selling points was, hey, look at this. And you took yours and you wrinkled it all up in your hand. You balled his, several $1,000 suit up in a ball and held it there tight, and then let me do it. Crinkles, as expected. I talk to him for 2 or 3 minutes, and he holds it back up, and it's completely flat again.
Yeah, it's the
And-
four harness goods. The way it's, yeah,
You know, so go through some of those things. So I think for somebody listening, that's, to me, it was like magic. But they said you're packing this in a suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that you're going to want as a feature, but like it goes so much farther than just something you're wearing. They go through everything you might be doing with it and figure all that. Or like, hey, that shirt I was wearing last podcast, it was almost 100 degrees outside, and I was wearing a long sleeve shirt.
It was a sharp shirt.
Yeah, they made that shirt, and it's made out of like this super light, stretchy fabric that it looks really good. And but it's 100 degrees outside, and it feels like I'm wearing no shirt. So I mean, those are the things. So it's like normal person would try not to wear long sleeves outside in 100 degrees.
But did you start I mean, so you've been doing business with these guys for 20 years. Did you start with a passion for learning about that stuff clear back then? Because there's no way that you have gained all this information in the last, would you
3
say?
years.
I mean, I kid you not. I went to bed at 3 a.m. last night. I mean, you're still learning, and like I realized that if I'm going up against, and we don't really like have competition, not in a bad way, but I'm not going out there trying to like sway someone. Don't go to X or don't go to Y. It's like I want to create an experience for everyone that walks in the door. So if I'm doing stuff on the back end where I could be learning to like perfect my craft when someone comes in, Elijah, you talked about the first time you came in to the second time you came in, and it was a different show. I was still at that point where I'm learning, and Pat and Tony were very gracious and like explaining to customers as they came in, like kind of what the position was and kind of where we were at, while still making me look like the good guy. And I was still learning at the time, but like you get to that point where you build confidence. You do things enough ways, enough times that it's like, okay, I'm good to go now. You learn different things that you can apply in your day to day.
So are you getting that on YouTube? So you said you're up till 3 a.m. is that Chat GPT? Is there manufacturers that are like, hey, we make these 10,000 fabrics, and you're reading all the specs on these? Because I mean, like I'll take it from I like equipment and trucks and stuff. So every year when GM or Ford releases the new specs on the new pickup, here I am at 3 a.m. reading the specs of what next year's pickup's going to be, looking at I don't sell trucks, but I'm interested, right? But if I did sell trucks, I would be there 100%. I'd know everything. So where are you finding that information? What is that information that you're learning? Obviously, you're probably drinking from a fire hose, so you're taking the last 2,000 years of knowledge and in clothing in, but where are you finding that information? For someone that's interested out there in what you do, where is what are you looking at? What is there to learn?
Yeah, I'm looking at the different mills and kind of what their releases are going to be, and even going back to the history and even learning things over, reading it multiple times. Also kind of what I'm seeing fashion trends. So whether it's social media or Pinterest boards, as goofy as that sounds, like knowing what current trends are. We're in Iowa, okay? We have clients all over the country, but like trends are going to move in. So they're going to start on the coast and then they're going to move in. I'm curious to see what people are wearing in Europe. I'm curious to see what people are wearing on the coasts and kind of are there different trends. Now, we're in Iowa, so a lot of our business is in Iowa. People aren't going to be wearing everything necessarily, or like a peak lapel. And so for semi-peak, like notch lapel is most common. So people aren't going to be wearing certain lapel styles. But if people want to kind of explore those, or if they've seen something on TV, whether it's a personality or
you got to know about it.
I'd love to know about it and be like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I saw that last night. And so even those small things where you can relate to people and show your expertise and your knowledge, I know exactly what you're looking. People will come in. What's cool about custom is we can create anything, like any style you have. So in that conversation of like, send in your mood boards or your inspiration pieces that you've seen or what you're envisioning, share that with us ahead of time so that we can know exactly, okay, yeah, I know that. Now, some people, they'll come in like, I have no clue where to start. I was like, okay, like get to know you. What are you using this for? Are you doing a presentation? Are you leading meetings? Are you a board member? Do you have to wear this whatever. And so that way you can show your expertise and knowledge. I think it would be appropriate if you would go this style or setting. Or when we ask that question of like, what do you want to do with your lapel? Do you want it to be a larger lapel, a skinny lapel? And they'll be like, well, what do you think? And so you kind of learn as that conversation goes where you're leading them to. But yeah.
So the one thing that I definitely gained out of going was learning all like the suit etiquette stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are so like you said earlier, unbutton your suit when you sit down. Would you give us a couple of those things for everyone out there, especially young guys? No one's telling us this stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the guys out there, dads didn't wear a suit. My dad wore a button up and a tie every day as a doctor.
Yeah.
But never a suit.
Yeah.
And so like those are something that if you're ever in one, it would be nice to know.
I don't wear suits. You're talking about the kerchief, the pockets in it.
Yeah.
What's appropriate? I see you've got the hole for the boutonniere.
Yeah.
Just, run around with the boutonniere just cause or.
Yeah. No. So I mean, first of all, when you're sitting down, you unbutton. You always unbutton because otherwise, let me show you real quick what happens when you do. I mean, I'm sitting here like this. I don't think this looks very flattering. I mean, you guys are looking at me and like you can see this popping out.
Mm-hmm.
So you do that. When you stand up, you button it back up. When you're, go ahead.
When you're walking? So you buttoned when you're walking? Do you button it? Okay.
Yep. You bet. You never button the second one. Yeah. So you always have two buttons. I can't tell you enough how many times I've seen people where they'll stand up and they'll have both buttoned, and it's like, man, we cannot
Top button only.
do that. Yeah. Top button only. Okay, that's the only one. I wouldn't wear your jacket when you're driving. I had a good buddy recently who brought in his jackets that he had gotten, and he's on the road. He works construction, and he's on the road a lot, all the time. And when he drives, he wears his jacket sometimes, and over time, when you're doing this, you're going to cause stress right here.
It's a wrinkle.
Yeah, if you wear it once, like, big whoop. But if you're wearing it for hours, and so we brought him in, and I said, okay, I want you to put this on, and I want you to go sit in your truck, and I want you to sit there and show me exactly how you drive. Put it on. That exact same spot where there was the hole is where his elbow was. And it's like, doggone it. Like, that's it. I mean, there's other
Give him
things.
some leather patches in.
Yeah. So we had to do some constructive surgery on that jacket, and it's better now.
What about different button styles on your wrists, that kind of stuff? Like, is there suit jackets so what is the difference between a sport coat, something you're going to wear to, a business event, and you might wear it with jeans and whatnot, and what's the difference between that and a real suit jacket that you would wear with pants and polished shoes and go to, somebody's wedding?
Yeah, we want to make the most out of your investment with the suit. So if there's ways we can pair multiple suits with each other, like a blue and a gray and a blue, pair that together. We'll sell sport coats a lot. So some people, they just don't wear dress pants. So they have those whatever, they have jeans, they have khakis that they wear, and they just need a good sport coat. That's going to be kind of a suit separate. Now, what occasions you wear that for, it's going to be based off the attire that they've requested. But I can make this. I'm wearing currently a full suit in this pattern. If I take off these pants and wear a gray pant with it, this becomes a sport coat essentially. Obviously, it depends on kind of what you do with the lapel and how it pairs everything else. But we try and make people's wardrobes versatile where they can mix and match.
Now, what we haven't hit on is the tie.
Oh
yeah.
We haven't talked about the ties.
Well,
I mean,
before you jump there,
go
what's the difference between a suit? So when I bought a full suit, I didn't get a vest.
Yeah.
I got pants. I got you guys made some shirts for me, and you did the jacket.
Yeah.
What's is that the difference between a tux and a suit, or can you have a suit with a vest? What are those? Because you hear people say it's black tie, or that kind of stuff. What does that mean?
Yeah. So the main difference between a tux and a suit is really the lapel and the satin usage. So a tux has that satin lapel, some satin on the besom pockets, and then satin on the waistband. Personal preference, I do not like that side satin stripe. We don't. If you want it, great, but I wouldn't recommend it. The three-piece suit is just a personal preference. If you want to add kind of that elevated
that's what the
style.
vest is.
Yeah,
That's
is that three-piece vest? Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
and sport coat is So I do want to know about the ties. We've been
Yes.
talking about jackets this whole time. So
Yeah.
you started off because you love ties, or
Yeah.
at least that was your modus operatum. Was
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
love,
are you a bow tie fan?
love ties. I do know I'm a fan of bow ties. I don't wear them as often, but we have a lot of people that still wear them. A lot of grooms that will wear them. It's kind of that elevated look. Huge fan of the self tie bow ties versus the clip-ons, but no judgment if that's your thing. Ties, like tie length, it should be sitting right below the belt loop. So you don't want it too short, and then you don't want it too long to where it's just hanging on you. But we sell custom ties too with our supplier. He actually comes in from Ohio, and we order our ties 18 months probably in advance, and kind of they're forecasting future trends, what they're seeing, brings in all these swatches.
Ties you do have in stock.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So we
Now,
do.
will you teach a kid to tie a tie if he comes in?
Would love to. Would love to.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about what we do is it's also about that experience. So it's not just like you come in and you're a young kid, you don't know anything. We aren't going to turn you down. We're going to help you, and we're going to figure out how we can help you achieve your goals. So it's learning how to tie a tie.
What are you sporting there? Is that a half Windsor?
This is just a 4-in-hand right here. So no, not half Windsor. But I appreciate the knowledge for someone who did not know.
I was about to say, what
we were-
tie would you recommend?
Back in the day, I used to do the full Windsor.
I mean, my thing, that's what I do now, but every so often
it
when I
gets
wear
a
a
little
tie,
big and it's hard to keep it straight.
I just look up how
I
to
don't-
tie a tie again and just look at a picture.
Well, and so yeah, I mean, even you get down to ties, and you guys have got a bajillion options for ties, and so can they have a custom tie if they want it?
They can. Yep. So our ties are exclusive. We only have 2 of each style that we bring in. So I don't want a bunch of inventory that we have to get rid of. So it's kind of using our knowledge of saying, yeah, this is going to sell. These aren't going to sell, so I aren't going to do that. You can do custom ties. We don't do a lot of it. What we do well is like the custom clothing. We do custom shoes. Those have been a huge hit. It's
Yeah, I need to get in and get
listening to your clients and figuring out what they're looking for. Custom belts. It's just some cool.
Custom shoes. What do you mean by custom shoes? I was just talking to one of my guys today that when he was based in Korea, he went in and got a set of custom shoes, and he's like, it's the most comfortable shoes. They're like, come back in 3 days, and he can't. I mean, this was bang, bang, bang. They were making them right there in the shop, but it's like I put them on, and it was the most comfortable pair of shoes I've ever worn. They were made for my feet.
Yeah, so it goes back to listening to your customer. We had so many people of saying, hey, do you guys do shoes? Do you do shoes? Do you do shoes? And finally, I'm like, all right, enough of this. Like, we got to find someone. And so we found this company manufactured out of Spain. So Spanish made, fantastic. It's learning about like kind of the feel of it, but then the customization part of like, what color do you want? What fabric do you want? What material do you want? I mean, you pick the style, you pick the make, and then the fit is just perfect.
That's crazy. All right, this has been great. I think it's time for wrapping this thing up. Hard hats on for our last few questions, and some of these we've already hit on, so these may just be a refresher, and some of them may not even pertain to exactly what you do, but we'd like your opinion because you've been out in the world and you've seen some stuff. So starting off with, now we've kind of answered this question already as far as apprenticeship versus trade versus on the job. What would you be your suggestion for somebody that wants to get into, whether it's your business or a parallel?
Yeah. It's got to be, you got to learn from the right people. You got to trust who you're learning from. Can't just go in anywhere, but like learning on putting the time in. That's been the most crucial part is, are you willing to invest the time to learn, like not during the day, but just outside of hours and in the dark to where like you want to be good. You want to build a reputation. People know you, they like you, but they trust you and they trust like what you're selling them. You got to do work on the back end to learn that.
And that's absolutely true for and that's in any trade thing. You know, if you were kind of confused about whatever it is that somebody showed you today, whether it was nailing a board or, helping somebody find a right pair of shoes, and you come back the next day and still don't know how to figure out the shoes, and I still don't know how to run that nail again. It's like, do you just go home and
and we run into that when we're talking to young people all the time, or we talk to employers constantly. It's like, I don't know if that's like goes back to the problem solving or what, but
Yeah.
it just seems like it's very difficult for people in our generation to go learn on their own, even though we have access to the information. It's cheaper than it's literally ever been on all time.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like that willingness to go do it maybe is not there. I don't know, but this has been a common trend with literally every single guy that's come in here. So for everyone listening, after we've heard it 6 times, you might start thinking about it yourself. It's the after hours time. It's the
You gotta want it.
you got
Yeah.
got to want to be
Great
the
way of
best
putting
in your position, no matter what that position is.
Yeah.
Well, as I've started working with Elijah here this past winter and into the summer, like there's times where I'm sitting in a meeting or at a table or something, and they're just saying acronyms or some stuff I don't know, and so like either I'm actually right there, like I gotta shoot a text. No, I'm actually on Google looking up an acronym or
Well, I mean,
jotting things down, or just like I repeat something in my head, so where it's like, well, next time that's brought up, I'm going to know exactly what it means. And
Right.
it's
well, I mean,
some
no
people-
different than here. I mean, I thought that what the answer to my question was what I thought, but I've got hooks in the back of my pickup. And I hang my suit jacket there when I go and drive. If I happen to be wearing it or we're traveling, I try not to. If I'm driving, it's gonna get hung up, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's what the hooks there were for. Because what else? I mean, they're tiny little hooks, and almost every car has them.
Yeah.
And so yeah, hey, you guys were talking. I'm looking it
I
up.
think you're supposed to put it on a hanger before you put it on the hook.
Well, yes, yes. It's I mean, mine's in a hanger bag and hang it on the hook. But number one thing right here is suit jacket.
Yeah.
So that's something that's come along probably since the 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s of having something to hang your suit jacket in, because it's not really that relevant to most people today.
Mm-hmm.
Why does a 2500 pickup have that in it? The majority of the people
It
buying
does have the little hooks.
Yeah.
All mine has is the oh crap.
Oh, crap bar, yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, mine's got the handles, and then right above each door's got a little hook.
yeah, I have hooks. Maybe I don't know. I got a car, so I'll put it on the
Back of the seat.
back of the headrest in the back seat, and then drape it over my seat, and but
Yeah.
since
Be curious, learn a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have fun doing this with every single person we have come in. What is kind of the earning potential of somebody in your business? Now, you're the business owner.
Yeah.
Is there other businesses where somebody getting into your trade would be an employee?
Yeah.
And if so, what does that kind of pay? Because like when you're a business owner, the earning potential is infinite. It's as much as you want to build it to, right? But somebody coming in, he's 18, he wants to work with you. Your business is blowing up. You need another guy to do measuring. You're going to start teaching him. He's going to start doing that. What does that look like?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if there's a specific dollar amount, but I can tell you, like, it goes into that hard work. You get out what you put in, and if you're willing to like pound pavement and learn in the dark and go out there and like meet people rather than just sitting in your chair waiting for the online submission or waiting for the call to come in, like we aren't retail, so we don't do the retail like commission structures or the retail whatever. Like there's good earning potential if you treat people the right way to earn their trust, to earn their business.
So, is it commission based? Is it based on how much volume you do, or is that is there a base and then commission on how would you structure it?
Yeah, I'd structure it with a commission base because I want people to want it too. Like I don't want people to just sit there and kind of wait for not a handout, but wait for like me to like, hey, here's a client, go get one. We just brought on another employee. Her name's Breezy. She's going to help grow our women's line, but she's also going to be a killer with like reaching out to people. And so like one of those things when you talk about growing a business is if there's myself, Pat, and Tony, and I'm still learning, I'm in that like managing business, managing everything. I don't have time to reach out to people.
Right.
I don't have time to go out to these networking groups. I'm also involved with a local charity in Des Moines, Variety, and so like investing that time. But you only have 24 hours in a day, so you need someone to go out to those companies that people aren't being reached, or some Tom James rep or some travel rep is reaching out to them like we want to get into that space. And so someone who's hungry for that commission, for that like next kill or that next win, to like hungry and go out and get it, commission based.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, kind of, what advice would you give to this younger generation or some kids getting into, whether it be a clothier or just any trade? What kind of advice would you give to them if they're unsure, and kind of what path is right for them?
Yeah. Well, and that kind of goes back to what I was experiencing. I was doing something for 10 years. Loved it. I loved who I was doing it for, who I was doing it with. But you have to be passionate about what you do. And like you kind of reach that point where it's like, okay, if you have that like fire in you that like, I got to do something else. I got to follow my heart on this. Don't take just the shiny coin. Is like take that passion and really put something into it. I think I'm a pretty humble guy for the most part, but like I will not let anyone outwork me. Like I will not. Like I'll put in that time. I'll make that drive. And that's stories for another time of like we will get in the car and drive to Spencer, Iowa to get someone fitted for an event that they need, because that's customer service. And that's something that no one else will do. I'm willing to do that. And you take that fire and you instill that in 60-hour weeks. I mean, being a business owner is not easy. And it's like that's been, I think, the biggest challenge over the past couple of years is learning like, hey, how am I going to be a good husband? How am I going to be a good father? And then how am I going to like do this thing that I've invested a ton in and just really blow it up to be something successful?
Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
I'd like to thank you again, Colby, for joining.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing all your experiences, lessons, insights, and advice for the next generation.
Yeah, right on. This has been great.
Thanks, guys.
Again, at Building Future, we believe that opportunity or exposure creates opportunity. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Keep learning, keep growing, keep building your future.